My lips are insanely dry right now, but when I turned the camera on, it was the sugar on my upper lip. So we're gonna circle back to that later. Although it's not really visible on camera right now because of all the natural light, my upper lip looks darker from the shadowing of the hair, even though it's vellus hair, which is quite fine or thin. So I only do this whenever I notice that happening. And my face is quite oily, so I always powder first. Of course, my skin is also clean, so make sure that you wash your face as a first step. I even like to do a clay mask as well to help absorb that. And for that, I use cornstarch because it's the most cost effective as well as being efficient. But if you don't have it, you could also use something like arrowroot or tapioca starch, which I feel like you probably wouldn't have that in your pantry, but you can use talc-free baby powder. It's the same thing because the majority ingredient in baby powder is cornstarch. So that's why I usually skip it altogether, because you don't need the other ingredients that it contains. So when applying sugar, remember to apply against or in the opposite direction that the hair is growing. For me, that's on a diagonal on the far end above each corner of my lip and down towards my top lip in the middle. Actually, if you want an even more in-depth explanation, I do actually already have an older video, so I'll link that down below if you want to see it. Okay, this is the first because I don't usually bleed when I'm sugaring my upper lip, but I'm actually really happy that it happened because it's a good reminder for me to tell you that this is completely normal. In fact, it's to be expected when doing any form of waxing. Not only is it a very small amount, essentially just a single drop, but it's coming from the base of the follicle where your hair is detaching from the papilla, which is in the dermis, not the epidermis. So this isn't a surface injury. It's coming from deeper within the skin, so you didn't do anything wrong. I see this comment a lot and I don't want you to freak out. In fact, it's actually a sign that you did something right because it tells you that you are successfully removing the entire hair shaft instead of just breaking it off. So honestly, you should be proud of yourself for having such a good technique. I'm realizing that this metal orange wood stick, although the perfect shape for brows, is maybe not so much for the upper lip because you actually want your sugar application to be paper thin. Okay, back to my lips. This is actually the next day and the situation has only gotten worse because what is this? My lips are clearly severely dehydrated, so you can't just put products over top and expect it to be effective. Like I always say, moisturizer goes on top of moisture. So we first need to rehydrate. And to do that, I'm making like an IV for my lips, which is just water and sodium. Here I'm using Epsom salt, but you can use table salt. I mix it together until I see the salt dissolve. And then I use a reusable cotton round, but you can use cotton pad, washcloth, whatever you have. And then I'll put it on my lips for 10 minutes at least. Almost like we're doing a sheet mask, you know? The only thing is whatever you're using needs to stay moist, so make sure that you keep solution nearby in case the cloth dries out. And then once the time is up, I'll use that or even a more textured washcloth to exfoliate any of the dead skin that's ready to come off. At this time, that may not be all of it, which is fine because you can repeat this over a couple of days until you achieve the results that you want. The only rule is that you don't want to overdo it. You really don't want an open wound that's going to scab over because that would really defeat the point of us doing this. You want something that's going to stay on all night, thick and occlusive. So if you don't like that, just put it on before bed and in the morning you can wash it away. I got this towel from IKEA specifically to use for my hair because it's just getting way too long for a t-shirt. But I've been thinking maybe I should use it to like DIY my own turban. Let me know if that's something you want to see me do. And I'm sorry I didn't take you in the shower with me, but when I was washing my hair, I thought this smells familiar. If I'm not mistaken, I think it smelled like the Kinky Curly Knot today. I really like it. Like after I washed my hair, it almost felt like I didn't even need conditioner. And mind you, I had just used a clarifying shampoo, which as you probably know is this one. Love it down. That's why I finally committed to the jumbo size. As you know, clarifying shampoos strip the hair down to nothing because the objective is to make sure that there's no silicones, no buildup, no oils, nothing that can interfere with achieving your desired hairstyle, especially if it's something like heat styling, like getting a really flat silk press. But of course, I did use the conditioner. It does what it's intended to do. It conditions well, it softens, smooths the cuticle, and as the name implies, it's actually good at detangling. It's not the slipperiest, but again, does what it needs to do. This is why I believe that much of my hair is probably high porosity, because by the time I get out of the shower, towel or not, this is what it looks like. Just straw. Like, it's by no means fully dry, but it's definitely hardly wet after what seems like not that long of a period of time. So before I put on product, that's right, we need to hydrate. And for that, I'm using aloe. Instead of adding distilled water, this time I just used straight aloe juice. And I got a new sprayer, but this isn't a continuous sprayer. It's just a fine mist, which I like a lot more actually, because one thing that mildly annoys me with the continuous one is once my hair is saturated, I can't just put the bottle down. It's like I have to wait for the spray to stop first. And unfortunately, my energy can run out at any given moment. So I don't really have that kind of time to waste. And because I'm still searching for a staple leave-in, I'm trying a new product, this hair cream that I found a few days ago. And while I don't have any final thoughts yet, so far I must say I'm impressed. First of all, the packaging. Well done. Because as is made evident from the lid and the upside down branding, this bottle can stand up in both orientations, allowing for easier extraction, which is much appreciated when you're already overstimulated and have wet hands. I'm no hairstylist, but one thing I've always taken their advice on is emulsifying product in your hands before applying it to your hair. I do think that this actually helps with more even application. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's supposed to help activate the ingredients as well. I'm not sure how, but I do as I'm told. And if you are a hairstylist, please enlighten us in the comment section. Oil attracts oil, so using oil before you wash your hair can help break things up before you introduce your surfactant or soap. Basically, it's like double cleansing your face. So we're applying that same principle to the scalp because naturally many of our hair products also contain oil or butters. So lately I've been using my infused oil as more of a pre-poo rather than a moisturizer because I do have mild dandruff, which really is a mild case of seborrheic dermatitis. And that means that the yeast that lives on our skin is feeding off of our sebum and some of those other oils. So I'm trying to see if not applying it gives me less flakes or not. I'm also trying no oil because once your skin starts flaking, there's no product that's going to eliminate or mask it. The flakes is your skin shedding as a result of being irritated by all of the oleic acid from the malassezia chewing on those fats. So the only solution is to start fresh. You have to cleanse to get rid of it. Because I really do like using oil on my scalp. I feel like even without the dandruff, it's prone to flake because it's dry. Like my scalp is not producing enough oil to begin with. And definitely if you have curly hair, because the sebum that your scalp is supposed to be producing, the goal is for that oil to travel down the hair shaft and coat it so that the moisture stays locked in. But as you can imagine, when you have coils, instead of gravity just pulling it down easily, like with straight hair, it has to spin around and around and around, which not only slows it down, but can deter it from actually reaching the ends of your hair, especially if you have more length. So that's why the ends of our hair tend to be the most damaged because they are thirsty. They dry out the fastest, not to mention they're the oldest part of your hair, having grown the furthest from our scalp. Remember, oil's only job is to seal in water. So if you intend to keep it on your skin or hair, it's not doing anything unless you hydrate first. The only exception is using it for that double cleansing method to help break down the pre-existing oil buildup on the scalp and the oil-based products sitting on the hair, but it's not staying on, we're washing it out. For me, oils help extend the time that I can retain moisture in my hair without having to wet it again. Not to mention the oil makes it easier and more enjoyable to stimulate your scalp because I do love a good scalp massage. The reason that massaging your scalp is so good is because it brings more circulation to the area, which in turn brings more oxygen and other nutrients that are in your bloodstream into the hair papilla, which then feeds the hair matrix that actually grows your hair. I feel like I do have a video on this oil, but it might be using a different assortment because I don't go out of my way to buy more before I've used up what I already have. So basically what I'm using is pumpkin seed oil, which can block DHT. The same goes for the nettle that I'm using as well. But grapeseed oil, because it's pretty light and tends to absorb more quickly than other oils. Normally I would use jojoba as my primary oil because it mimics our natural sebum. Since it isn't an oil, it's a liquid wax. However, I'm trying not to give the yeast something to feed off of, so I'm making another version with squalene oil. It's not a food source for malassezia, and it's also good for fungal acne as well because that's the same yeast that's causing that issue. So in theory, I'm thinking it might help with the seborrheic dermatitis, but I've also seen some conflicting information from studies, so we'll see. I'll put the recipe for both hair oils in the description box. They're pretty much the same, only I'm adding cinnamon to one of them. You could also use rosemary. I only had fresh, so I didn't add it to this because you definitely want your herbs to be dry. In case you didn't know, your cotton ball isn't a ball at all. It's actually a roll-up. So if you unravel it, you can reduce the amount that you use when taking off your polish or soaking off gel. Normally, you see me using lint-free wipes, and that's for a reason. I hate the feeling of dry cotton balls. I actually have to fast forward past that one scene in Elf where he eats them in the doctor's office. So I am in physical pain right now. But the one benefit of using it is you can use this technique because it removes your polish really fast and more efficiently, to be honest, especially if you have on several coatings and your polish is really thick, or you're just wearing a really dark color, which is easy to do because between base coat, top coat, and 2, sometimes 3 layers of color, it can be a lot to get through. So instead of rubbing back and forth multiple times to get it off, if you do this, it'll come off cleanly in one swipe. In comparison, this is how many swipes it takes for me to remove the 4 layers that I have on. Now, back to the callus. This is so thick that I can almost peel it off like a sticker. So to remove as much as possible, I am going to resort to cutting using a callus shaver, but yes, I will still be filing it because this technique just reduces the amount of time that I'll have to spend on my feet as well as friction. I initially thought that I wanted to use one of my favorite combinations for like a natural pink, but I wasn't so sure. So although you see me putting on the blueberry top coat, I actually took it off and just did 2 layers of the milky white. But I feel like my does have been looking kind of boring to me lately, so I am going to do a French, or shall I say attempt a French, because I don't know, I might have been celebrating a little bit too soon about being able to reach my feet comfortably after months of physical therapy, because I still can only hold this position for so long. Therefore, this isn't my best work. But if you want to see a better one with step-by-step instructions, I will link my, I think it's called like classic French pedicure video. I'll link that one in the description box, and it'll probably also be popping up on the screen right now. And if you want to see the outcome of the hair oil, make sure to tune in next week. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more.